Hi, this is Alpha77 with another figure review. Today I'll be reviewing the Death Note DVD figures that came with the American, Japan and Australia releases of the Death Note Special Edition DVDs. I should just comment quickly that Soichiro was not available in America, only in Japan, as Japan released 4 more DVDs as they had less episodes per disc. So as well as all the figures here and Cedo and Jealous, Japan also got Soichiro, Teru Mikami, Kiyomi Takeda, and the King of Death. So let's start off. Lights are very nicely sculpted, sculpted in a generic shirt and trousers, which is good, so it doesn't sort of put him at any specific point in the anime, because he wears it pretty much throughout. Very nicely detailed. The sculpt on all of the figures is very nice, because it really sculpts the clothes well. It sort of makes them create their own shadows, so they didn't need to add any paint apps to make them sort of hang off them very nicely. The skin tones kind of varies between all of them. None of them have a consistent skin tone, but that's not as bad as it sounds. They actually look really good together. His eyes are quite slanted, but that kind of makes sense because he often has his eyes narrowed anyway in the anime. The Death Note's got the little detailing on there. Not a lot of paint outs, but actually the overall effect is really nice anyway, so I think that's perfectly fine. Oh, I should just say briefly, all the figures come with stands like that. The only difference is Rem has a 2-pronged one, everyone else is single-pronged, except Ryuk has a little pole that goes up his arse. Okay, so now I'll move on to Ryuk. Ryuk's basically, he's very nicely sculpted. He's quite nicely sculpted. His expressions is kind of goofy, but then again, that's kind of basically Ryuk anyway. The colour he's sculpted in, I'm not a big fan of. It's a sort of dark blue, but it doesn't really work with the rest of his sculpt. It just looks kind of cheap. But the detailing is very nice on his buckles and stuff. And I said in the other review on the smaller figures that he didn't have his earring, but he does in this figure. The wings are very nice. They've got a good wingspan, but this one's actually bent. I don't know if you can see it because I can't get it high enough to show the other one. But you could probably remold that. His pupils also are not quite aligned, so this one's kind of a bit down, but otherwise pretty good paint detailing. Again, he looks kind of grubby, but that's just Ryuk's sort of style. L is brilliantly sculpted. It's probably my favourite. He's posed in a classic L pose with thumbnail and mouth in his sitting position. Got eyeshadow, and he's sculpted in a pale skin tone, which is paler than all the others, which is good because that's how it should be really. Near's kind of awkward to stand up. Most of them stand up well without their stands, but Near and Misa have a bit of trouble. Oh, and also of course Ryuk has to be poled in. But because Near, if you see, sort of listing to the right there because of the way he's posed. But he's very nice, very minimalist paint because obviously it's just the hands and the hair. But he's probably one of the best in terms of how he looks compared to the anime. I'm just going to try and stand him up without him falling over. Mellow's really nice as well. He's got the scar sculpted on, and he's got his gun there, although I think it was silver in the anime, but you know, a gun's a gun. And it is actually the correct gun that he uses, so I think it's a Beretta or something. It's got the chocolate that he's always breaking off bits. I won't say he's eating it, because I've never actually seen him eat it. He just seems to bite it off, maybe just likes the sound of it. The zips, all the weird zips, are painted. Although I see that zip goes up there. But yeah, he's sculpted in brown, which at first I thought was wrong, but going back to the anime, he actually does wear brown as opposed to black in some of the scenes, so it's not too bad. I only wish that the scar was painted, because it's just the same as his flesh, which in reality it probably would be more that colour, but in the anime it's a reddish colour, which is kind of a shame, but otherwise he's a very, very good figure. I'll just talk about Misa. She falls over very easily. She's got nice detailing on her boots. They're nice sort of glossy black as opposed to her leggings and dress. And although it's also on the arms as well. got a cross keychain, so this must be based on the manga actually, because in the anime they changed it. Because ooh, don't want religious symbolism. That would be wrong. Yeah, she's got weird turquoise eyes, which is weird because she has blue, and her face is sort of bimbo-y. I mean, I know she is a bit of an idiot, but the whole thing, her pose is weird, and I don't think it goes with the rest of the figures, and she's probably the worst, I think. But you know, she's a main character, so I put her down because she doesn't stand up unless she's balanced on Rem. Rem's okay, but she looks kind of cheap as well. But I think that's just because she's moulded almost entirely in white. But they do have a nice wash here in all the sort of bones, and nice purple, which sort of bleeds out from the hair, like it does in the anime and the manga, as opposed to just being solid. So that's really nice. I think it's just the overall effect is a slightly cheap figure, but you know, I think Rem and Ryuk, they sort of work better when posed with the ensemble as opposed to on their own. Balance. Yeah, see, Misa's really not good at standing up without someone else to lean on, which I guess is kind of symbolic of the anime. Soichiro is a fantastic figure, absolutely amazing. I think of all of them, he's probably the most accurate. The only problem I have with him is his hair there is kind of solid strips, which if I just show you in... hang on. As if you can see there in the manga, he's got, it's not really solid strips, it's definitely lined, and the paint detailing doesn't really reflect that. I mean, he's got little white bits at the front, but they're not running all the way through like they should. But otherwise, brilliant. I'd say he's definitely the most accurate. And as you can see, the glasses are really well done here, and I think glasses are one of the hardest things to do really well on a figure. I mean, if you've seen Hiro Nakamura from the Heroes line by Mezco, you'll know what I mean, how they can be done so badly, and yet here they're done fantastically. So I think generally just a fantastic likeness of Soichiro. So yeah, overall fantastic figures. I mean, with the exception of Rem and Ryuk, I mean, all of them would be worthwhile on their own, but I think just as a collection they look really great. So if you can find them, definitely worth checking out. Especially, I think if I had to pick three best, I'd probably go for Soichiro, Mello, and either Nier or L. I mean, personally I prefer L, just because L's an awesome character, but I think Nier may be slightly better in terms of likeness, but he does fall over a lot. So yeah, that's the end of this review. Thanks for watching.